Here we go. What is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. We got a great one for you. We're discussing talents of a hooker. His name is Hendon Hooker, not the get your mind out the gutter, because we got a good one. Hendon Hooker is the guy that everybody is discussing right now. Is he good enough to be the next upper echelons quarterback in the NFL, or is he going to be just another dude? I got a lot of good things to say. We got some negatives to say, as always, and we got a final grade score for y'all because Hendon Hooker, to me, is one of these guys. I'll let the cat out the bag right now. He still is my number 3 ranked quarterback because I do believe he's that good, but let's dive into the good stuff and waste no time. You know, sometimes the stars align and you get a t-shirt slogan without even thinking about it, and talents of a hooker is going to be a fabulous t-shirt that will be a top seller. No kidding, but let's dive into this man's measurables. He stands 6'3", 217, very good size. He is 25 years of age. Yes, I did not stutter. He is a senior citizen as a rookie coming into the NFL. No kidding. 45 games played, 66.9 on the completion percentage, almost 9,000 yards, 89.74 is the tally in total yards. Very impressive, no kidding. 80 touchdowns to only 12 interceptions for Hendon Hooker. He's rivaling that of a Bryce Young and a CJ Stroud in that same category, not only for top end TD upside, but the TD to interception ratio is definitely on point and on par, and you can totally understand and see why Hendon Hooker was in that Heisman race this past year, because his game was off the chain and he was playing very well. But we got a lot of pros. Let's talk about these pros. Fantastic size and frame, like I'm saying. 6'3", 217. Put together quarterback, man. He's flirting with that prototype frame. Some want to see a little bit more weight on the frame. 217 to me is just fine. I think he's able to take punishment, stand up and take it from behind the pocket, no problem. He will likely add anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds, and it'll only help his cause for taking punishment in the NFL. True dual threat quarterback, mobile plus grade. I gotta say it, man. He is a true mobile quarterback, but he is, I'm gonna put it right here at the bottom, very good rushing ability, but won't default to the run. I think that's very important when we're talking about Hendon Hooker, because he's not just this running quarterback. He is a true dual threat quarterback who will likely stay in the pocket to throw before he does take off. But when he does take off, he's got supreme upside in that ability. You see the rushing stats: 517 attempts, 2,079 yards, and 25 touchdowns over his career in college football. So you can see what he was able to do not only through the air but on the ground. You're talking 11,000 yards plus in his college football tenure, but it is very good. True dual threat quarterback, and I think that, nobody's talking near enough positives about his passing upside at this point, and I think it has a lot to do with the injury, obviously, but he is very good in this department. He does have a very strong arm, a very pretty deep ball, reminiscent to me of somebody like a Tyrod Taylor, and some of y'all will say, what, Tyrod? He wasn't that good. Overall, Tyrod wasn't the greatest quarterback, but that deep ball Tyrod possessed was gorgeous, and he could fit it in anywhere. Probably the best aspect of Tyrod's game. Hendon Hooker definitely has something of that very pretty deep ball. Great lob under the ball as well. It's one of those with the throw power and velocity. Gets it perfect point of going deep. Doesn't hang in the air too long. Majority of the time, I got a con on that as well. But, I mean, it's a very good deep ball. No kidding. He's got good zip on the ball. Throw power to me is plus grades, especially when we're talking in that mid-range, the short, like 10 to 15 to 25-yard range. The throw power is superb, in my opinion. Definite plus grades in that respect. It's a very common theme between guys like Hooker, Stroud, Richardson, Levis. The throw power and the velocity is very good. I think Hendon Hooker's arm is being totally undersold at this point by many scouting in the scouting departments. I think his throw power is definitely a plus for me. He throws ropes and dimes like nobody's business, and I think the timing scheme, the air raid scheme in Tennessee, it definitely benefited him in this respect as well. Will it translate in the pros under center? It's going to take some time, but the air raid scheme transferring over to Tennessee was a stroke of genius for him. Definitely exploited all his talents that he does very well, and when he does hit the ball perfectly, he's throwing those ropes and dimes, and it looks very, very good. excuse me, he does have that good pass throttle up and down. And it's kind of like what I was talking about. If you watch the Anthony Richardson scouting report, I was concerned that Anthony Richardson doesn't have the throttle up and down. Hendon Hooker definitely does. He understands the touch. He's got very good touch on the ball. When he needs to throw the power ball, he's throwing the zip on the ball. And I think that's very important. To have the ability to change the ball velocity is so important for a rookie quarterback and an NFL quarterback in the league. It's super important. You don't want to be just one type of guy, and I think Hendon Hooker with the dual threat ability and the mobile aspect, this is only more positives for his game. His pass release on top of that is polished to me right now as a rookie. I think there is room to grow. It has not peaked and hit the ceiling, but the pass release to me is so clean and it's so good. Technique is definitely there on the release. He understands when to get it, timing perspective, hence why this offense was very successful with him in that respect. Very good step up in the pocket. I'm not going to give him, total plus grades for his pocket awareness because it's not always there, but he does step up in the pocket extremely well, creates more time, gets his wide, because we saw some of his wide receivers running very long routes, and you had to step up and navigate that pocket to at least give them the opportunity to finish the route until Hendon Hooker can hit them. He does that very well. I'm going to give him an above average right now on pocket presence because I think it is there. He will round that out as well in the pros, but I think right now his step up is very clean and very good. But for some cons, he's got some. And the big one for me, careless running style, the body contorting, taking bad hits, risk of injury. You got to know when to just call it home and go down, go out of bounds. You just don't do that type of stuff because your career is going to be extremely short if you're going to continue to take this high level of punishment. Going to be something like an RG3. Everyone says, RG3's frame wasn't suited for the NFL game, and that's why the punishment was, but it's because he just didn't protect his body, and I fear the same for Hendon Hooker in that same stance. He's got to learn how to protect himself when he's running the football. You see too many times leg just going array, and he's landing and planting wrong, and it's ugly, and it does scare you at times where you're like, oh my God, please tell me you're not injured on that play. So definitely something I want to see cleaned up, man. He can be flat-footed at times, hence why I'm saying the pocket presence. It aids. It's not in his awareness problem. It's just because his feet are flat-footed, and it's why you're seeing some throws be errant, okay? And that's where I'm going to go into the throw power, where I say it's very good. He can short arm throws, and I think that's where it comes from when he is flat-footed, and it's not a technically sound throwing upside, and that's when he does short arm the passes, and I think that then his receivers had to slow up for these passes, so you do see a common theme from Hendon Hooker in that respect. Can he lock in on one read? Absolutely, and it is the timing aspect of this offense as well. On those slants, on those goes, he does lock in, and you see it from time to time. You don't necessarily like it. You want to see him progress the field a little bit more if it is locked up, but I think he does progress the field well enough that it won't be a big problem in the NFL. But will he find his third and fourth read with high levels of consistency? That's a question mark as well that we're going to have to understand in the NFL. I'm not overly convinced at this point. I'm going to stay on the fence right now and say he can do it, but is it consistent enough? I think that's kind of where I'm landing right now. He does double clutch this ball far too often, and I don't like it, man. Double tapping the ball, almost going through your motion to cock the ball out, and then all of a sudden you pull back. Just too much of it, and on film study, opposing defenders are going to eat you alive, especially when they're coming, pinning their ears back, rushing the passer. He's got to clean up a lot of these things. Trust your arm, trust your vision, and understand when you got to just release that ball. Mid-range, middle passes, lack confidence at times. And where I do see, big boy throws out to the sidelines with high velocity, 15, 20 yards, he makes the sideline throws very nicely. The middle of the field, I did see him throw the passes, but it was very far and few between. And in that zone, over the linebackers, in between the safeties, is the big boy stuff. And that's the throw that you want to see with high levels of regularity, high levels of confidence from a Hendon Hooker. Can he get there? I do believe he can. I don't think it's, precluded from his game. but I just didn't see near enough of it to suggest that it's a positive in his game. At this point, more of a statement than a con, but it definitely has to sit here. Is he better suited for the air raid scheme? Very possible. So in the NFL, you're going to have to find a team that's going to morph the offense around a guy like Hendon Hooker. If you're going to try to develop aspects of his game, I completely understand because you want him to round out his game, but I think he would be very much better suited with the air raid scheme than anything else. He is the older prospect, 25 years of age, the ACL injury, likely to sit in 2023. Big problem, so he likely won't see any NFL action until age 26. So what are you getting out of this quarterback? Maybe 8 years, maybe 9 years, and that's going to be a definite short career. Hence why some of these scouts are dropping him down the board, because based on the injury, based on his age, you're talking, well, how much of an investment can we give this man, especially since we're hearing rumor that he could find his way into that first round? I highly doubt it now with the ACL. Could definitely see him on day 2 in the second round being selected, because that's kind of where I believe he should be at this point due to the injury. If he was clean, didn't have the ACL, day 1 product, you could definitely make the case for a Hendon Hooker. But for grading purposes, I like his game. I'm a fan. I think that he does have a lot of potential that a lot of people are sleeping on and not promoting near enough. I think he is a good quality quarterback, and he showcased all that talent this past 2 years at Tennessee. 79.3% is my grade for Hendon Hooker. He rests around the Anthony Richardson level, and that's not a bad thing. I think that, when we're talking C.J. Stroud, we're talking Bryce Young, they are the more polished products coming into this draft, where in Anthony Richardson, Hendon Hooker, they got some things to clean up, but the age, some of the footwork problems, you got to drop Hendon Hooker down just a little bit, but resting with an Anthony Richardson very close in that same realm is definitely a good sign for a potential career in the NFL. So there you have it. That is Hendon Hooker, the talents of a hooker, because there's a lot of talents for this Hendon Hooker, and I'm telling y'all, I do like his game. I think that, even a team like Seattle, maybe with Geno learning, you could see that potentially. Maybe the Raiders. We'll see. It's going to be interesting, but Hendon Hooker, to me, is a quality quarterback that will give you potentially 8, 9 years, 10 years in the NFL, be 35 years before he retires. He's just too good, and I think that based on all his skills and his traits that he has already shown, playing in the SEC, playing against that top-level competition, and succeeding handsomely, Hendon Hooker is definitely one that needs to get on a roster, and he will showcase the talents once he is fully rehabbed from that knee injury, which I do believe will happen. So, nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts. What are you thinking of Hendon Hooker? Are you a fan? You not a fan? Where do you rank him between basically the 5 quarterbacks in this draft? Throw them in the comments. We can talk it out, but we'll see you next time. I am out.